And welcome back. Today we have UofL Health live in studio to talk through heart health, who's most at risk, and options for patients that include a transplant if it comes to that. Now, Dr. Sheng Fu is an expert in advanced heart failure therapies. Doctor, I got your name right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. And we wanted to talk a little bit about heart failure and who's most at risk for heart failure.
Yeah. So I think, thanks for having me. There's a lot of different ways to kind of develop heart failure. Some people have a heart attack and their heart function never fully recovers. Some people have genetic heart failure where it kind of runs in the family. Various other toxins or, for example, even chemotherapy can do that, or a virus. So there's a lot of different pathways to get to heart failure, which essentially ends up being somehow your heart muscle is weaker than it should be. Yeah.
What are the signs and symptoms that are associated with heart failure?
Yeah. So that tends to be pretty broad as well. A lot of, I think the most common symptoms that patients look for or can experience are just shortness of breath or tiredness in doing things that they would normally otherwise be able to do. So oftentimes we ask, if you think back to last year or so, how was a grocery store trip for you, and how does it compare to now? Are you more tired or short of breath now? A lot of patients will develop swelling in either their legs or their belly, and if they're swollen in the belly, they can feel full very easily. So there's a lot of different symptoms, but a lot of times shortness of breath and fatigue are probably the most common ones.
So they're taking on fluid? Is that why they're feeling
Yeah,
so
the heart's
full?
just not able, when a heart is weak, it's just not able to process the normal amount of fluid that the body has, and so things tend to back up.
Okay. And I was telling you during the commercial break that I actually had a colleague that had a heart transplant. A lot of people think heart transplant, oh, that would never happen to me.
Yeah.
But it does happen to people that we know, even though it is rare.
Yeah.
Talk about that and who's a candidate, really.
Sure. Yeah, I think we've come a long way in terms of our ability to manage heart failure between medications, procedures, things like stents or surgeries and so forth. But at some point in a lot of patients' kind of courses, the medicines and the procedures just don't seem to work anymore. You're not getting the same quality of life as when you were first diagnosed and started on medications. And so when patients get to that point, really you have kind of a couple of options. One is heart transplant. The other is a mechanical heart pump. And these are what we call advanced heart failure therapies, where we say, the medicines and everything else that we have just doesn't seem to be working at this time.
And the recovery is a pretty long process.
Actually, it can be, but it's shorter than we generally expect. The hospital stay is somewhere around 3 weeks or so. And the first month or to 2 months can be a little challenging. But for the most part, by 6 months, the majority of patients are doing quite well.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Doctor, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely,
we appreciate
thank you.
it. All right.